Most home repairs can wait until the weather cools down. That is what people say, and it is mostly wrong. Summer is not a slow season for your house. It is one of the fastest seasons for damage. Heat and humidity work together, and they do not take a vacation. What looks like a small gap, a dirty coil, or a soft board in July can turn into a $5,000 problem by October. I have watched that happen more times than I can count. And the thing that gets me every time is that none of it had to go that far. These were fixable problems. They just got skipped. Here is the myth I want to knock down right at the start. A lot of folks believe that summer is when you enjoy the house, not fix it. You did the spring cleaning, you checked the boxes, and now it is time to sit on the porch. I understand that thinking. But summer does something to a house that spring does not. The heat builds pressure. Wood expands and contracts. Moisture gets trapped. Pests are active. And cooling systems are running flat out, which means any weakness in them shows up fast. Waiting for fall to deal with these 5 repairs is one of the more expensive habits I see homeowners fall into. I also want to tell you what does not work. Running a fan instead of fixing ventilation, not a real solution. Spraying a little caulk on the outside of a window and calling it sealed, almost useless if the inside is still open. And power washing a deck without treating it afterward? That actually strips protection and leaves the wood more vulnerable than before. These are the kind of half measures that people reach for because they feel like action, but they do not stop the damage. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which 5 repairs are worth your time and energy right now, why each one matters more in summer than any other season, and what the actual fix looks like, the materials, the rough cost, and the right order of operations. You will walk away knowing more about protecting your home than most contractors will bother to tell you, because there is no money for them in the cheap, effective fix. Before I get into the first one, I want to point you towards something that goes deeper than a single video can. There is a full guide that walks through everything I am covering today in step-by-step detail. Product types, application methods, the order that saves you the most time. Open the camera app on your phone, point it at the QR code in the top right corner of your screen, and scan it. That QR code stays pinned up there for the rest of the video, so scan it now or scan it later while you keep watching. Entirely up to you. Either way, do not skip it. The detail in there is the kind of thing most folks have to pay a contractor a few $100s to hear. Now let us get into it. Repair number 1. Re-caulking and checking weather stripping around your windows and exterior doors. I will be honest with you. This is the one that sounds boring, and it is the one that costs people the most money when they skip it. Caulk is cheap. The average tube runs around $5 to $8. A good hour of your time and 3 or 4 tubes of exterior-grade caulk can seal the most common air and moisture leaks in the average home. What you lose when you do not do it is not dramatic. It is quiet. A little cooled air escaping here. A little warm, humid air sneaking in there. Water creeping behind siding in a place you cannot see. And over a summer, those small leaks let moisture into wall cavities, and that moisture is the beginning of mold and wood rot. Here is what I look for. Run your finger along every seam where a window frame meets the siding. Anywhere you can feel a gap, or anywhere the old caulk has cracked and pulled away, mark it with a piece of blue tape. Do the same around every exterior door frame. Pay special attention to the corners of window frames. That is where caulk fails first, because the 2 different materials expand at slightly different rates in the heat. For the product, use a paintable, exterior-grade silicone latex blend. Pure silicone lasts longer, but is harder to work with and harder to paint. The blend gives you a good balance. Cut the tip small. A smaller bead is easier to tool smooth and looks neater. Run a wet finger along it immediately after applying, and you get a clean, professional-looking line. Weather stripping on doors deserves separate attention. Close each exterior door and look at the gap around the frame. If you can see any daylight, the stripping needs replacing. Most hardware stores carry foam tape, V-strip, and door sweep options. For the bottom of the door, a good door sweep costs somewhere around $10 to $20 and installs with 4 screws. It takes 15 minutes. I have never met anyone who regretted doing it, but I have met plenty of folks who wish they had done it sooner. The payoff here is real. You are not just stopping air loss, you are keeping conditioned air inside, which means your AC runs less hard, your bill is lower, and the system lasts longer. For a very small investment of time and materials, this one delivers year after year. Repair number 2, cleaning your gutters and making sure downspouts are draining far enough from the foundation. Most folks think about gutters in the fall, when the leaves down come. But summer is actually when gutter debris causes the most invisible damage. In spring, seeds and helicopter pods from maple trees pack into gutters and start to compost. By July, you have a dense, wet mat of material sitting against your fascia boards, the boards that hold the gutters up. Those boards are wood, in most cases, and they stay wet. Over a summer, that is enough to rot them. Cleaning the gutters themselves is straightforward. A 5-gallon bucket, a scoop or gloved hand, and a garden hose. Start at the end, away from the downspout, and work toward it. Flush it out at the end to confirm it drains freely. The whole job on an average single-story house takes under 2 hours. But here is the part that I keep coming back to, because it gets skipped constantly, where the water goes after it leaves the downspout. The standard elbow at the bottom of a downspout deposits water roughly 6 inches from your foundation. That is not enough. Water sitting close to a foundation, especially during summer storms, when you might get 2 or 3 inches of rain in an hour, finds its way into basements and crawl spaces. It also softens the soil against the foundation wall, which over years contributes to settling and cracking. The fix is a downspout extension. You can buy a simple plastic extension for a few dollars, or a flexible accordion-style one that bends around landscaping. You want the water to discharge at least 4 to 6 feet from the foundation, and ideally onto a slope that carries it further away. If your yard is flat or slopes toward the house, a splash block or an underground drain line is worth the effort. This is the kind of thing that costs almost nothing to fix and can prevent thousands in foundation repair. Stick around for repair number 4, because it is the one that most people assume they have already handled, and almost always have not done completely enough. Repair number 3, inspecting and improving attic ventilation. Summer heat is hardest on your attic. On a hot day, attic temperatures without good ventilation can reach well over 130 degrees. That heat does 2 things that hurt you. First, it radiates down into your living space, making your AC work harder every hour of the day. Second, it accelerates the aging of your roof shingles from the inside out. Shingles are rated for outdoor conditions, not for being baked from below for months at a stretch. The way I see it, attic ventilation is one of the most under-discussed home maintenance topics there is. Most folks never go up there in summer. The signs that something is wrong tend to show up on the energy bill, which people blame on other things. Here is what to check. First, look at your soffit vents. Those are the vents along the underside of the eaves. Clear any insulation that has been pushed over and is blocking them from inside. This is more common than you would think. Then look at your ridge vent or gable vents to confirm they are unobstructed. Proper attic ventilation is a system. Cool air comes in low, warm air exits high. If either end is blocked, the whole thing stops working. If you do not have soffit vents, adding them is a moderate project, but a worthwhile one. A qualified carpenter or roofer can add them for a few $100s. If you are a capable DIYer, there are plug-in soffit vent kits that require a hole saw and a few screws. Also, check your attic insulation while you are up there. In many older homes, the insulation has settled or was never deep enough to begin with. The general guidance is that most attics benefit from at least 10 to 12 inches of blown-in insulation, though local codes and climate zones vary. Good insulation and good ventilation work together. One without the other is like paddling with one oar. The guide I mentioned earlier covers the full ventilation inspection in detail, what to look for, how to evaluate what you already have, and which improvements deliver the biggest return. Open the camera app on your phone and point it at the QR code in the top right corner of the screen. It is still sitting there. The detail in that guide will help you decide exactly where to focus your effort before you spend $1 on materials. Repair number 4. Cleaning your air conditioner's condenser coils and checking the refrigerant line insulation. I told you this one would surprise you. Most folks think they have handled AC maintenance if they change the filter. Changing the filter matters, and I am glad if you are doing it. But the filter is only one part of the system. The condenser unit, that is the outdoor box, has coils on the outside that release heat from your home into the outdoor air. When those coils are clogged with dirt, cottonwood fluff, grass clippings, or just a summer's worth of dust, the unit cannot release heat efficiently. It runs longer, works harder, and uses significantly more electricity to do the same job. In some cases, a heavily fouled condenser coil can cause the unit to overheat and shut down. Cleaning the condenser coil is not complicated. Turn off power to the unit at the disconnect box. That is the small metal box on the wall near the condenser, and there is usually a pull-out block or a switch inside. Then take a garden hose and spray the coil fins from the inside out, gently, working your way around the unit. You can buy a coil cleaner spray at any hardware store for under $15. Apply it, let it foam and sit for a few minutes, then rinse. The difference in airflow you feel after doing this is noticeable. Now the part that almost nobody checks, the refrigerant line insulation. Running from your condenser into the house is a copper pipe wrapped in foam insulation. In summer heat, that foam breaks down, cracks, and falls off. When the insulation is gone, the refrigerant line absorbs heat on the way into your house, which reduces efficiency and makes the system work harder. Replacement foam insulation for refrigerant lines costs just a few dollars per linear foot at any hardware or plumbing supply store. Slide it on or wrap it around, tape the seams, and you are done. It takes maybe 20 minutes, and it makes a real difference. Repair number 5. Treating and sealing wood surfaces, decks, trim, and exposed siding. This is the one I promised you, and I want to give it the attention it deserves because it is the repair with the widest gap between what the fix costs and what ignoring it costs. Wood that is exposed to full summer sun dries out, checks, meaning it develops small surface cracks, and begins to absorb water when it rains. Each cycle of wet and dry opens those cracks a little wider. UV exposure breaks down the surface fibers, and once moisture is getting into the wood consistently, you have ideal conditions for mold, mildew, and rot. Deck boards that could have been preserved for another decade with a single afternoon of maintenance end up needing replacement. That replacement, for an average deck, runs into the thousands. Here is the thing about deck treatment that the can labels do not always make clear. Timing and preparation matter more than the product. A lot of folks wait too long, then apply a deck sealer over dirty, weathered, or already graying wood. The sealer sits on top of the damaged surface and does not penetrate properly. It peels within a year. They conclude that deck sealers do not work, and they stop treating the deck altogether. That is the road to replacement. Do it right, and it is simple. Clean the deck surface thoroughly first. A deck wash product, the kind that brightens and cleans, is worth using. Apply it, scrub if needed, then rinse and let the wood dry completely. In summer sun, 2 or 3 dry days is usually enough. Then apply a penetrating sealer, not a film-forming one. Penetrating sealers soak into the wood and protect from the inside. Film-forming products sit on top, look great initially, and peel as the wood moves with temperature. For trim and siding, do a close visual inspection around every window, every corner board, and at ground level. Probe any soft or spongy-looking spots with a screwdriver. If the screwdriver sinks in easily, that wood needs to be replaced, not painted over. If it is still solid but showing surface weathering, a good exterior primer and paint will protect it for years. This is exactly the kind of hands-on detail that the guide breaks down step by step: product types, application sequences, what to look for when you are not sure if wood needs repair or replacement. Everything I just walked through for wood surfaces is laid out clearly in there. Open the camera app on your phone, point it at the QR code in the top right corner of your screen, and it opens the guide right up. Keep that camera ready anytime you want it. Before I wrap up, if you find this kind of no-nonsense, practical information useful, I would love for you to join this community. Hit subscribe and you will see a new video every week. Questions from folks just like you, answered straight. I read the comments and I take your questions seriously. Let me bring this together. 5 repairs: caulking and weather stripping, gutter cleaning and downspout extensions, attic ventilation, AC condenser and line insulation, and treating your wood surfaces before they fail. None of these is complicated. None requires a contractor. The combined cost of materials for all 5, if you do them yourself, is likely somewhere in the range of $100 to $200 depending on your home. The cost of ignoring any one of them can be 10 to 20 times that, conservatively. There is no money in telling people to caulk their windows and clean their gutters. The industry would rather sell you a new window or a new deck. That is why this kind of plain, common-sense maintenance does not get the attention it deserves. The folks who do these things consistently are the ones who reach retirement with a house that has held its value, a cooling bill that has not gotten out of hand, and no ugly surprises waiting behind the siding. This week, walk your perimeter, run your finger along every window frame and door, check your downspouts. Turn off the AC disconnect and look at those condenser coils. Do the easy things first. This month, get the caulk done, get the gutters cleared, and get up in the attic for at least a 10-minute look. And before you go, open the camera app on your phone and point it at the QR code that is still in the top right corner of your screen. Scan it and you get the full guide. Every method, every sequence, every tip I could not fit into this video, all in one place. So you have it the next time you are standing in the hardware aisle trying to remember what you need. It is the kind of resource that makes the whole job easier from start to finish. Leave me a comment below and tell me, which of these 5 repairs have you been putting off? And is there one that surprised you? I read every one. And if there is a specific repair you want me to dig into in a future video, say so down there. Next week, I am going to walk through exactly how to tell whether your AC is low on refrigerant before it stops cooling completely. It is simpler to spot than most folks think, and catching it early saves you a real service call. I will see you there.